Well, what kinds of tips and strategies do you have for people that are going to be tackling this for the first time?
Yeah, don't underestimate it.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that's going to be very, very hard to put into context, right? Because I don't think people are going to underestimate it,
Yeah.
but it's going to surprise you for different things than you think. So tips and strategies, yeah, you need to get out there and you need to start rowing 10-minute efforts at full intensity just to see what it feels like. And you need to do a 10-minute effort, and then you need to take a 30-minute break and do a 10-minute effort and do that 30
Yeah.
times. You don't need to do a full rehearsal of 24 hours.
Right.
I think there's importance to doing like a 10 by 500 with full rest in between sets. Like just kind of practicing with rowing 500s and 1000s at intensity. It'll translate to rowing 2000 or 2500 at on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm hoping people are coming out there tackling every single interval at an 8 or a 9 would be where I would tackle your perceived rate of efforts for each interval.
Right.
Um, and I mean, I think that's all you got to do for training. Dial in your technique, get it in your head that when the going gets going, you're going to stick with your rowing technique and not sort of give in and deviate proper posture or violate, cord extremity on your pulls because you're compensating for sore this or sore that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all stuff that's very easy to deduce. The piece that's going to be hardest for most, because I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I suspect that most individuals that are going to tackle this have not done something for a 24-hour stretch.
Exactly. Yeah. Very
And
few have. So
yeah, I think it's a great time domain to tackle. And knowing how your body reacts when it's tired and how your mind wants to make decisions that aren't good decisions or allow you to give in to convenience, um, or to shy away from discomfort or take the easy road when you're tired. It's good to get to know yourself. I would try to find time to go 24-hour stretch, 36-hour stretch without sleeping, just to
yeah.
understand your cognitive abilities and awareness. And then nutrition.
Yeah. That's a big question as well. Like, what do you eat? How often do you eat?
Yeah, I mean, we could science it to shit and say, well, you're rowing in each effort, you're going to burn X amount of calories, and we can say, okay, hey, we want to make sure that we're putting in X amount of calories back. We want to make sure we're drinking water and we're hydrating, and you can science it,
Right.
and that would be fine. But I suspect also that the calories on your PM4, PM5 is not an accurate representation of the thermogenic calories that you're actually
Right.
burning.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't do that. I know, I know because I do all these types of events, so I know how my body reacts and responds.
Right.
I would say avoid binge eating, but also don't go for long stretches without putting something in your mouth. So maybe after every row, you should focus on at least drinking 6 ounces of water. I don't think you should pound 12 to 16 ounces. I think you should drink at least 6 ounces after you get off the bike or off the rower, and immediately, and then and eat a little something, just a little snacky, a yum yum. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be big or substantial. Um, and just try to do that for every interval. If you don't eat every interval, every other interval at a minimum,
Right.
you want to be putting in 100 or 200 calories. And I think if you are going to try to be all this vegan, paleo, something fad, whatever you are, you're going to crash.
Yeah.
Um, this type of event, your body needs to just fuel. And it doesn't matter the source of the fuel for the macronutrient. Just think balanced. Just make sure you're getting a little bit of fat, a little bit of carbs, a little bit of protein. I wouldn't go for the proteins and the carbs that take a lot of water to digest. You want highly soluble. I'd like to drink my protein.
Okay.
Stay away from beef jerkies. Stay away from
Yeah.
dried fruits. Um, if you find yourself going heavy on the sugary stuff, you want to float that with something a little bit more substantial. I like a little tiny bit of sugar because it's fast acting with a little bit of more of a longer absorption rate type carbohydrate. And I'm always wanting to have a little bit of protein, a lot of fat.
Right. And
And
this is different than fueling for a sustained effort event. Like I've done Ironman 12-hour events, and you've done 24-hour plus events. Fueling for that's a little different than this, where because the intensity is different, right? You're going to be eating and then going at a really high intensity effort, which is harder to process nutrition that way versus long steady efforts. You can almost kind of get away with eating, I mean, you talk to like ultra endurance athletes and they eat everything from Oreo cookies to peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But this is a little different.
yeah, I mean, their output levels are much different than we're going to be
Right.
operating at high intensity for a short duration.
Exactly.
Throw you off a
Exactly.
little bit.
Yeah.
Thinking you're going to munch on macadamias and cashews, you're going to have a wrecked digestion system.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
easily digestible. Think quality foods. Vegetables don't get you anything
Yeah.
doing this except the stomach ache and the shits, right? Like stay away from vegetables. But I'm not afraid to throw some peanuts, or peanut M&Ms in the
Right.
belly. A McDonald's cheeseburger, a Hostess cupcake. But also I'm going to be smart too, where Jeff had asked me, like, what would you put together for a food list? And it's like, yeah, hey, I would have some chicken noodle soup on the standby, and I would have
Yeah.
some hot dogs, and I would have some scrambled eggs
Okay.
with a little bit of salsa or something like that, some English muffins with a lot of butter that you can like almost like butter like you would dip crab in. You know what I mean? You dip your English muffin in that thing. But you're going to want to make sure you're eating. But don't be afraid. You're not going to survive on goose and all Snickers bars.
Right.
At the
Yeah.
same time, you're not going to be eating carrots and celery sticks dipped in hummus.
Right.
Right? Like that. Those are the extremes. That's not going to work for you. I would have some hard boiled eggs and munch on a couple. So the other thing is you get off that rower. You got to be deliberate about what you're going to do. You get off the erg. You should say, okay, hey, first things first. 6 ounces of water, and then look for some food. And within the first 10 to 15 minutes, you should have eaten what you're going to eat. And you have drank your 6 to 8 ounces of immediate fluids right after. Because what's going to happen is we get into interval 12 and 14 and we start to get into the wee hours of the morning, you're going to start to get lazy. And you're going to not want to do the discipline stuff right away. You're going to want to sit down, you're going to want to rest, you're going to want to do this, you want to do that. And then you're going to be playing catch up. And then you're going to skip an interval. And then you'll never catch up and it will bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
So, come up with your plan. Here's what Tosh is going to do. He's going to sit down on the erg and he's going to row his ass off. Rate of effort 9 on the first row. He's going to set a number. I'm going to try and hit, I don't know, I'm not quite in great shape, but 22 to 2300 maybe.
Okay.
In 10 minutes. Just go hard.
Yep.
Get off that. Have a little sippy sip of water. I probably won't eat for the first one, so we'll call those odd hours.
Right.
And on even hours, I'm going to try and put in 100 to 150 calories on my even hours. And then every 4 or 6 hours, I will try to do something a little bit more aggressive with eating. Force myself to eat a hamburger. And then if that means that I only row 2,100 meters on that next one, I know that'll be better off
on the subsequent
that
one.
hamburger
Yeah.
will sustain me for the next 3 or 4 until I do another meal. Get some scrambled eggs and a pancake with some maple syrup on it for, effort number 8. And then that's kind of how I'm going to work along the way. And I'll sip on a little bit of water here and there, but you also don't want to overhydrate.
Right. We got a woman that's talking about coming in that 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. time slot and making Belgian waffles for everybody.
That's perfect. Perfect.